I'm Lee Jackson, Technical Director for Travis Perkins and responsible for the WholeHouse platform. Heading up a team of industry experts to deliver what we believe is a platform that will support you in delivering bespoke, quality homes in an ever-changing market. After training as an architect, I worked for a regional house builder. I joined Travis Perkins 25 years ago, and in this time I've been involved in design, manufacturing, retrofit, MMC and product innovation. WholeHouse is about bringing all of this plus more together, making it available in one simple to use platform. In this film, I'm going to walk you through the origins of the WholeHouse platform and the industry pain points we identified that led to its creation. We're going to give you an introductory walkthrough of the platform, its functionality and its many applications, and finally demonstrate the way in which WholeHouse allows you, the home builder, to save time and build smarter. Since 2014, we closely collaborated with regional house builders to identify pain points within their construction processes. Our aim has been to leverage the size and capabilities of our group to alleviate and mitigate these challenges to benefit the UK home building sector as a whole. Our collaboration gave us a comprehensive list of pain points to reflect on, ranging from land acquisition and planning permission to material supply and labour availabilities. Above all, one common theme emerged time and again: a complete lack of control, leading to escalating risks. And when we delved deeper, another recurring term surfaced: design, or rather the absence of upfront design work, resulting in our regional home builders continually adjusting their design during the construction phase, instead of considering and addressing these pain points proactively at the beginning of the process. We further investigated whether these pain points were concentrated across specific construction phases, such as the planning stage, construction, or the sales process, and found that the same underlying issues persisted across all these stages. All home builders acknowledge the importance of having a clear vision of what they intend to build. Say, for example, a 3-bedroom home, brick built, with a kitchen at the rear. However, with a lack of detailed upfront design, each iteration of the building process becomes inconsistent and prone to inefficiencies. Let's turn this into an analogy in a different sector to visualize this. Say, for example, we have a factory, and the factory produces little toy robots. We know the robots need to be assembled with body parts, so we quickly go and program the machinery to automate this. But once we've done this, we pause. We need to identify other critical aspects like the posture, the colour, detailing, stickers and decals. Doing it this way, we create an inefficient production line, a disorganised workflow that's hard to manage, and more worryingly, inconsistent results. The 3 things you don't want when building a home. So just as a factory relies on upfront design and machine programming for efficiency, we must view building sites as outdoor factories and program them accordingly. And the programming that we need to do is simply designing up front and then making sure everyone follows those designs, much like the machinery in our factory. The solution lies in implementing a design freeze at the project outset. However, this poses challenges as detailed design work typically occurs during the construction phase, making it impractical for most builders to pause for months while the design process is finalised. In addition, any savings achieved through this approach would likely be eaten up by the costs of waiting. Consequently, we often find ourselves with a design freeze that happens at the project conclusion, when handing over keys to the customer, as opposed to the beginning of the process. So how do we change this? In this segment, we're going to talk about design freeze, what it actually means, where it sits currently in our home building process, where it should be implemented in our processes, and the need to move the design freeze forward. Before delving deeper into this topic, let's explore 3 key areas where your business can gain value by examining your workflows. Firstly, consider where savings and costs can be optimized. This extends beyond financial aspects to include environmental factors such as carbon emissions and waste reduction. Secondly, time is a crucial factor. Whether it's having insufficient time, facing time constraints, or dealing with time pressures, the impact time has on your project must be carefully considered. Lastly, focus on all aspects related to quality, control, and simplification throughout the process. So, what exactly is a design freeze? And why does its placement within the construction process matter? A design freeze marks the stage at which the design is finalised and aligns with the actual construction. To better understand its significance, let's zoom out a little and take a look at a timeline representing the end-to-end process of building a home. Where do you envisage your design freeze fitting in? It's likely you're considering the phase between the technical architect and the work on site. To accurately determine the ideal placement of the design freeze, we must assess where the majority of our information is hidden within the process, as this informs our planning. Typically, the architect provides about 20% of the detailed information required. But what about the remaining 80%? The architectural drawings typically include plans, sections, elevations at various scales alongside basic foundation layouts, heating and electric configurations, site plan, and hopefully a specification. As the construction progresses, specialist designs are needed. This could include ground floors, intermediate floor joists, roof trusses, stairs, kitchen, bathrooms. This process involves continual revision and approval, leading to a cycle of design adjustments throughout the construction phase, which is less than optimal. Furthermore, aspects like plumbing, electrical and ventilation follow schematic outlines, with final designs often evolving directly on site, without formal documentation, further impacting our build. This underscores the necessity for a new, dedicated stage in our process, the specialist design phase. And this is where the remaining 80% of the specialist design information is hidden. So returning to our initial question, armed with a better understanding of where the majority of the design occurs, it becomes apparent that the design freeze occurs just before the project completion, effectively concluding the construction phase. Can you think of another industry where the design freeze occurs at the end rather than beginning? So how can we rectify this? Well, let's try pulling all the specialist design work forward, keeping the technical architect and specialist design work closely linked, which unlocks a process of controlled change that runs right up to the project's completion. So, if we halt construction to complete all this design work up front, this could come with substantial costs that actually outweigh any anticipated savings. We should focus on optimizing our costs, savings, and environmental impact, saving time in the long term by pausing to plan, and boosting the quality, control, and simplification of our project, all as a result of shortening an unnecessarily long build process. So to conclude, I'll return to the production line analogy. The solution to create consistent toy robots is to merge the programming of both machines, to determine the configuration, the posture and detailing at the same time before assembly. This way, we create an efficient production line with an organised workflow and consistent results. The exact outcomes we all want for our building process. So in home building terms, we've relocated the design freeze to the initial stage of our process to enhance efficiency, save time, and foster smarter construction practices. But before we introduce WholeHouse to the process, we must first understand the importance of design. In this segment, we're going to run through the importance of upfront design. Design plays a pivotal role in streamlining our process, while also providing a crucial mechanism for attaining control and mitigating the risk inherent in home building. Design is so central, in fact, that if undervalued, it sets off a chain of events within the home builder's process that amplifies risk and diminishes control. We know the importance of careful and considered upfront design, yet in our industry, very few of us develop this idea as much as we should, especially when considering the implications this can have on our businesses. To mitigate these risks of undervalued design, it is imperative to gain a comprehensive understanding of the project up front. This entails focusing on the design phase, as it serves as the centre point for reducing risk. By addressing and resolving potential issues through meticulous design considerations at the outset, rather than leaving them to be dealt with on site, the overall risk profile of your project decreases significantly, like so. Furthermore, adopting a design-centric approach transforms challenges into opportunities. For instance, upfront design enables value engineering to alleviate pain points, reducing risk, and more importantly, reclaiming control. Consider the scenario where achieving CML is hindered by a specific type of door being unavailable. The solution? Standardized door dimensions to ensure uniformity and availability, thereby de-risking the entire process and enhancing product sourcing flexibility. This is just one example of a design-centric approach. This example underlines the principles that upfront design fosters lateral thinking, departing from that traditional linear problem-solving approach characterized by the addition of products, reworks, escalating complexity during construction, a common occurrence in many sites today. Returning to our analogy of our toy factory, where meticulous pre-planning and design is part and parcel of the machine programming, we can truly automate a production line with consistent results. We recognise that this approach is nothing new, but can be such a costly oversight for any home builders who are working hard to create a quality product. So next up, let's take a look at controlled change and how it inspired us to create WholeHouse. In this segment, we're going to talk about the key inspiration behind WholeHouse, creating a piece of software that puts you, the home builder, in control by merging the specialist design and technical architectural phases of your build timeline, allowing you to make well-informed decisions, streamlining your processes and eliminating any hidden surprises, all through the proper implementation of upfront design. One primary obstacle to upfront design is the sense of lack of control. This is particularly felt by many regional house builders who perceive standardized house types as a kind of, contradictory to their brand identity. This, in a nutshell, was the core inspiration behind the creation of WholeHouse. Our main objective was to combine the advantages of upfront design, standardization, and the ability to establish a design freeze at the project outset, all while allowing the user to explore controlled modifications in a virtual environment, enabling them to craft customized designs that are tailored to their individual brands, as well as implementing the design preferences those brands represent. In search of a solution, we turned to industries outside home building and drew inspiration from the straightforwardness of online car configurers. These simple platforms enable customers to personalize base model cars by adjusting features such as color, deciding on the trim level, and choosing from selection of engine specifications as well. So how do we translate this idea into software for home builders? By implementing a simple configurator for basic floor plans, we empower users to design bespoke properties, making well-informed decisions while ensuring full compliance with the latest regulations. This approach puts the user in charge of both design and cost, all at their fingertips. Going back to the project timeline here, we've pulled forward the specialist design phase and we're merging it with the technical architectural phase. This is the perfect user case for WholeHouse, putting the home builder into the design seat, with all the tools they need to revolutionise and declutter their process. Imagine digitally designing in 3D, creating and comparing house types effortlessly with no hidden surprises. This approach fosters greater design freedom, real-time previews so you can test your creative ideas and result in a genuinely unique portfolio for you and your business. And by doing so, our users get to retain complete control over all changes while eliminating the risk elements. Now it's time to take a look at its functionality. In this segment, I'm going to demonstrate WholeHouse as a design tool, taking a look at its dynamic pricing functionality as well as exploring the finer design details in which our platform truly excels. Let's start with the basics. For example, the number of bedrooms. So, do we want a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, or a 4-bedroom property? And roughly what size? Moving downstairs, would we rather the kitchen to be at the front of a property or the rear? Now we've got the basics, what's next? So, do we want a detached, semi-detached, or terraced version of the property? Now all this can be changed over and over again at the click of a button at any point through our design. So, next up is all about the style of the property. We can quickly go from our classic brick to a render property to stone, a brick and render blend, a contemporary brick option, to even a cladded version. I'm going to quickly take this property back to a brick version so we can start to look at some of the finishes that we can achieve. So, we can quickly go through several different options from red coloured bricks to even some heritage ones. More yellows. We'll go with a red multi-stock brick. From here, we can change the roof finish from a plain tile, changing the colour, through to a pan tile, even natural slate. Let's go for a plain tile, and I think what we should do is go in for a wet verge rather than a dry verge. The next piece is we can start to look at the window styles. At the moment we're showing a plain ovalo window. We can change that to a flush cottage. Change the colour. We can change to a slightly more contemporary style property with larger windows, changing the look and feel all at the click of a button. So moving on from here, we can quickly now go to the front door. We can run through several different styles, all at the click of the button. Even changing the colour as we go. Even the same for the rear door, from a set of French doors to aluminium bifolds. Now it's some of the detail in the property. We can quickly change the headers and sills over the windows. We can even change the brick header to an arched version, or even going on to a stone header to find something that suits our bespoke design. Let's just have a quick tidy up of the design. Going back now, we can quickly change from our stone back to a set of brick headers. Pick a style that suits the brickwork that's been selected. And now it's time to make the sills match in with the headers as well. Working down our list, we can now come to our eaves details. Currently we're looking here with an overhang verge with a fascia soffit. We can quickly change that down to now having brick details, from a UPVC finish to a timber, even applying a stone corbel. All the way down to having a very traditional brick eaves detail. So again, let's go back, we'll have a timber fascia soffit. Within the platform, we can make simple changes even down to the level of the gutter. Going from round in black or white finish, and even changing that to a square profile as well. Now looking at our design, do you think we could do with the chimney? Adding that in, completely changing the look and the feel of the property as we go. Last thing, Through making all the configurations, you may have noticed that the porch disappeared on the front. This is where we can now come back and very quickly change this property to having no porch or canopy, or at the click of a button completely changing the feel of the property, going through having a gabled canopy, a lean-to, simple flat design, or even going for something very contemporary. Let's go back to a gabled version just to complete our design. Now pretty much that's our external of our building completed. One of my favourite features is the real-time price monitoring, which updates with every click being made, making sure you're in control of your costs as well as your design at all times. It really is as simple as click, visualise, check the cost and move on to the next option. Each of these options and combination of options are all pre-vetted and compatible. Now switching over to the interior, where the kitchen is the heart of the home. Here we have 3 types of kitchen: cottage, modern and contemporary. Also available in 3 grades of finish. All these change the doors, appliances, handles and the worktops and splashbacks, enabling you to make speedy and informed decisions based on quality, cost and style, whilst being able to visualise these changes being made in real time. We can use the same level of customisation for the bathroom, like so. And now the ensuite. And now we can go to the downstairs cloakroom. We can even change our staircase, going from white to having oak details, even full oak with carpet grade treads. But these are what we consider the big changes. But we all know it's the finer details that really make the difference. And it's the attention to detail where WholeHouse really comes into its own. We can customise everything from internal door handles right the way through to the light switches, changing from chrome to satin. This degree of creative control and real-time visualization allows you to do all of your design work up front, knowing that all of your component parts will work harmoniously and be fully compliant. You can also proceed to finalise your design right here and now, in the knowledge the manufacturers have checked and approved your design in advance. So now, as you can see, this design is starting to feel like a home. You can walk around your design simply and easily by clicking through and starting to see everything fall in place. Looking at all the little details that have been brought into consideration. For example, the bottom of the stairs. Doing something different, like a featured tread, can open up the space, as opposed to a null post blocking the flow. So now we're in the kitchen, we can see how our design allows for the outside light to flood in through the large opening that in the future can link into an extension. And appliances like the washing machine and dishwasher, all hidden behind the breakfast bar. The best part, that in spite of this enormous amount of potential configurations, we can work in the knowledge that the check-in and the calculations are happening in the background, much like it would be if we were sat with the entire design team. And as a reminder, I'm bringing my design freeze forward, saving time, saving money, and without the need for design specialists to make several changes to the build process. And it really is that simple. So, we've designed the house to this point. We're happy with the layout, the materials, and the finer design details. But we still have a few more decisions to make. So in this chapter, I'm going to cover some of the more advanced topics. We're going to do a little on the heating and ventilation options. We're going to take a closer look at the WholeHouse design efficiencies and how the platform handles consequential changes to your design. Firstly, Let's consider heating and ventilation. With the ongoing changes to the regulations, this can be a really complex part of the design process. And the penalties of getting this wrong can be substantial. Will we need PV? What about overheating? Or what kind of space will we require to make effective use of an air source heat pump, for example? So to answer the question, let's drop back into the design and look at the heating. Firstly, do we want gas or an air source heat pump? Let's go with an air source heat pump for now. Sticking with the air source heat pump, let's take a look at the rear of our property. If I now change this to gas, you'll see that PV is automatically added because it needs it to comply with the regulations. You'll see as the PV was added, the air source heat pump was removed. Now returning back inside to our property, you'll see that the air source heat pump and cylinder has been removed and the gas boiler is now shown in the cupboard under the stairs. So as you can see on the screen, we've got other options here for an air source heat pump. If I flick back quickly, you will now see that our cylinder has now been added into the cupboard space when we now have got larger radiators because of the air source heat pump. But I can quickly now change that, also now showing that we have no radiators on the ground floor, still having all the plumbing inside with our puck unit. Looking under the stairs, you can see as we toggle between an air source heat pump with underfloor heating through to an air source heat pump with radiators, and even changing right the way back to our gas boiler. As I make the changes, you can see the price changing directly on screen. This is where WholeHouse comes into its own. By moving the plant into this space, it removes the need for an airing cupboard on the first floor. This has several benefits. It now enables all of the doors in the property to be the same size, without increasing the size of the landing. Now, let's talk about the plumbing. Incorporating WholeHouse into your workflow enables you to tackle complex plumbing tasks off-site, ensuring easy installation without disrupting your on-site timelines. And for example, the challenge of lifting a heavy unit to the first floor. This puck or prefabricated utility cupboard removes all of the install challenges and enables the space under the stairs to be utilised while simplifying the installation, reducing the risks that would normally be encountered when making these type of decisions. Now onto ventilation. We can quickly switch between a standard DMEV ventilation system to an MVHR system, and you can see very quickly that not only has it allowed for the unit to be installed in the loft, it also applied a deck and all the reinforcing to the trusses required. Now, usually this kind of change is intricate and technical, but with the WholeHouse platform, complexity becomes simplicity. Every detail has been considered up front, from the positioning of the MVHR unit to the necessary access requirements, ductwork arrangements, the vent positions and placement in the rooms, all seamlessly addressed by our design team. This level of foresight enables you to understand not only the process, but the true material cost of the system. But more on that later. Now back to PV. As we've now selected an air source heat pump to be the main heat source, we don't need PV to comply with the regulations. However, we can still select PV and add them to our design. We can quickly select whether they go on the front of the property or the rear, all with the knowledge that it's compatible with all the other selections we've made so far. At this point, we can add on the EV charging at the front of the property and see all of the drawings and the bill of materials update in real time. So those are just a few illustrations that demonstrate the innovation behind WholeHouse and just some of the ways it enables its users to save time and build smarter. In this chapter, we're going to discuss the 3 areas that really define WholeHouse's simple proposition. These are upfront design empowerment, streamlining construction processes, and on-site risk mitigation. By using WholeHouse to design and configure our home up front, ahead of time, we've enabled the design freeze to be moved from the end of the process all the way to the front, while still offering the controlled choices required to build the bespoke, quality homes that represent the quality that you as a home builder would like to be known for. Focusing on the design up front has allowed for several processes to be moved off the critical construction path to off-site, like the puck unit under the stairs, or the pre-drilling of joists for the services. We've also removed the risk associated with missing key stages within the build. For example, the location of the MVHR unit and all the ductwork, right through to changing the tile quantities, for example, where PV has been selected. And by engineering WholeHouse to provide a complete understanding of the end design at the beginning, our team unlocked the opportunity to work closely with manufacturers, consultants, and industry specialists to drive easier processes for our users, which we believe, and most builders would agree, gives the user the real competitive advantage in making the right decisions up front to ensure that the correct products are available when needed. As I mentioned earlier, all of this is linked to a dynamic price configurer, showing the true material cost of changing a whole solution from one option to another. This approach also reduces the risk and in many cases eliminates the risk of running over budget, allowing you as the builder to make informed decisions that add value to your business and to the customers that live in your homes. So now that we've fine-tuned our design and minimised our risk, it's time to think big. In this chapter, we're going to discuss how WholeHouse enables you, the user, to think big. The power of individual designs on a plot-by-plot basis, and the simplicity of achieving bespoke designs using WholeHouse. Throughout this video, I've emphasised the importance of capitalising on the design freeze and the advantages of comprehensive upfront design. As we've previously outlined, the significant benefits of this approach extends beyond just the construction phase and impacts the entire process from start to finish. So how many times have you struggled to understand the cost of a project up front? When you think about it, how can you be expected to add the cost to something when you don't really know what it is yet? As we know, using the WholeHouse platform enables visibility of the material costs at a point in time. Based on our chosen design and specification, not only is the design costed, it quickly enables the ability to compare and review multiple options, to check both the viability or the implications of a design. For instance, incorporating PV panels, transition from a gas boiler to an air source heat pump, or altering the exterior materials from brick to render or even stone. All options are readily accessible, even at the planning stage or earlier in the process. But if we zoom out from a single house to a development level, we can see the power of WholeHouse come into its own. Let's take a terrace of 4 properties, all currently the same configuration. Now imagine having the ability to change those identical properties in seconds to a series of variable configurations. From an exterior perspective, you might prefer to have some in render and some in brick. Then imagine changing the house types altogether, from a 2-storey to a 3-storey, and some 3 beds and a 2. With an accurate, real-time view of the material costs, regardless of their configuration, all while retaining complete control. And for those who take pride in their bespoke approach, we can add subtle differences without adding any complexity to your overall plan. This could be as small as changing the front door style, or colour, all the way through to detailing above the window and the construction and aesthetics of the eaves. WholeHouse produces one set of drawings per plot, and for every plot, as built, matching both the handing and the specification that you decided on. This feature becomes really powerful when you factor in the capability to revise a plot in response to any changes, regulation, or any market fluctuations that impact pricing. Whether it's adjusting the heating system or fine-tuning the kitchen specification to align with the market demand. All of this can be achieved with just a few clicks. It's all about saving time and building smarter. So in this next chapter, we'll talk about how WholeHouse generates the plans, drawings, and all the information you need to do just that. In this chapter, we're going to discuss how WholeHouse enables you, the user, to become your own architect, the download process for the plans and the elevations, and the speed at which WholeHouse can generate this information. The role of the architect can be broken down into 2 and sometimes 3 tasks. The first is all about site planning and gaining planning permission. The second is pulling together the technical drawing packages. And the third is that of the building regulations principal designer. Now, the WholeHouse platform is not about removing the architect or building designer from the process. It's about pulling forward the design freeze and placing it ahead of construction, increasing capacity and productivity across the whole process. This empowers architects to concentrate on crafting standout plots and optimizing the overall site layout to create a space worthy of bearing your company's name. The WholeHouse platform integrates you seamlessly into the team, allowing you to wear multiple hats, be it that of the designer, the quantity surveyor, technician, engineer, or even the sustainability consultant, all simultaneously. With the extensive research and consultancy embodied in the WholeHouse programming, every click harnesses over 500 years of combined experience. Whilst you're crafting the design of each house type, the system works behind the scenes to ensure compliance with regulation. Once you've plotted your design on site with the planner site section, you've provided the final piece of information WholeHouse needs to generate all of the necessary details on the title block of each drawing. So now you're ready to download the information. This could be as straightforward as a planning download, featuring basic plans and elevations, or it could encompass the full construction pack necessary to take your project from concept to completion. The construction pack provides everything you should need to build your property from the topside of foundation. This pack contains approximately 40 drawing sheets from plans, sections, elevations, compliance schedules, M&E layouts, and much more. But this is where WholeHouse drawings are different. Each pack ensures seamless coordination across 20 different specialists and consultants, incorporating insights from over 500 years of combined experience. You will also receive a pack of nearly 200 construction details that can be used to standardise construction across the whole site. An expensive process that typically demands weeks, if not months, of the design team's efforts. And finally, you'll be able to download a fully itemised bill of materials, covering every aspect of the property's construction, from the skirting board to the plumbing fittings, door handles. This breakdown is split into various build stages, making it simple to track and manage. What's more, the bill of materials is linked to your local Travis Perkins branch, ensuring timely availability of materials well ahead of the construction phase. The real game changer, WholeHouse will generate and compile the full set of construction drawings, schedules, and itemised bill of materials per plot in approximately 45 minutes and send them straight to your inbox, providing significant time saving and empowering you to regain real control within your business. And this is how WholeHouse allows you to become your own architect. Before we wrap this video up, I'd like to tell you about how we've leveraged Travis Perkins and its links with the best manufacturers in the industry. Not only to optimize the WholeHouse platform, but to make a seamless purchasing experience for you, the builder. WholeHouse brings together over 500 years of collective experience from industry-leading experts, meticulously created to form the foundations of the WholeHouse platform. Guided by our lead architect and their practice, we've assembled an extensive design team to oversee every aspect of the build process, ensuring ease of use, seamless installation, and optimal performance the way it was always intended. Collaborating with trusted brands spanning the whole industry, we've united over 40 manufacturers to address challenges on your behalf. There is also another reason why we believe Travis Perkins is best placed to deliver WholeHouse: the bill of materials. Over the years, I've witnessed various quality of takeoff, some good and some not so good. I also recognised a critical gap: the lack of a bill of materials linked directly to the products and quantities that you, as a builder, need to purchase. Let me explain this in a little more detail. Often, a surface area measurement is provided, such as 11 square metres of plasterboard. However, this overlooks some crucial factors, say for example ceiling height, resulting in inaccurate estimates and potential wastage. For example, if we take our 11 square metres and divide it by 2.88, the size of a standard sheet of plasterboard, this equals 3.82 boards. So we require 4 boards. By introducing a ceiling height of 2.2 metres, the wall length would actually be 5 metres long. Now if we divide this by the 1.2 metres, the width of a standard board, that equals 4.16. So actually, we really need 5 boards to complete the job, which is nearly 14.5 square metres, not 11 square metres. WholeHouse tackles this by automatically generating a precise list of materials in the required quantities, eliminating the need for a separate specification document. With each product scheduled for the specific application, the bill of materials effectively becomes the specification, therefore mitigating the risk of incorrect choices. Furthermore, we don't insist you actually purchase everything from Travis Perkins. We just emphasise building with the products specified in the bill of materials. Adhering to the design drawings and manufacturer's guidelines, it's a straightforward approach designed to simplify the process and minimise risks. By knowing the details of the building up front, including all the quantities, your forecasting becomes more accurate, and the supplier engagement occurs earlier in the process. Now at this point, I can hear you say, is it really that good? Is it really that simple? Is it really that fast? Before we wrap this video up, let's move on to a quick summary. At its core, WholeHouse empowers you to maintain the leading edge in your industry by harnessing the innovation and expertise of a host of top-tier suppliers and consultants. It's a tool that coordinates all of the design work up front without adding additional time to the process. In fact, quite the opposite, transitioning from design to site ready in just 45 minutes. Think back to the factory. Imagine the efficiency of a well-oiled production line, where everyone knows their tasks well in advance, from pipe installation locations to required fittings and system performance expectations. Understanding the role of the design freeze in your process is critical. That's not to say you can't make changes after the foundations have been poured, but WholeHouse ensures controlled adjustments with no hidden consequences. And by reviewing real-time cost implications and providing meticulous updated drawings, schedules, and a fully revised bill of materials linked to the local supply chain. WholeHouse delivers increased certainty, reduced risk, and enhanced clarity, all seamlessly integrated into one intuitive platform, all encompassed in our simple proposition: save time, build smarter. Thank you so much for watching, and for any further information, please feel free to speak to our team or visit the website to create your own house types. Thank you.